Hello and welcome. It is the 12th day of November 2017. My name is Derek, and let's do a hashtag crypto trading video. Everything you do within your own risk and your own reward. 400-minute time frame for the Bitcoin chart, which has given back all of its last leg higher gains as it is back in the previous congestion area of the middle to end part of October, which is the 5,000 area. The price action earlier today, or in the through the morning hours, breached below the 5,600 target, and then it rallied very sharp up to about 65, pulling back down to a little above 56, and now currently in close to 6,000. So a lot of volatility since this down move. You can see you have this symmetrical kind of formation, a neutrality pattern, a correctionary move from the last move, which of course is a down one. Shorten up the time frame, you can see it a little bit better, so that's what I'll do. And this is the 10-minute time frame, and it simply made a higher low in here, which is a very odd spot. You would have expected a higher low to come in towards, because roughly around a 61.8% mark in here would have been the expected correctionary move, and if it doesn't hold, aka this move in place breaking down, then I would usually expect a move to come back to previous low, and this one obviously did not within this very short term analysis. It's doing a reversal trend statement in here. If it's able to get through and do such, then within this time frame, you'd expect the price action to move into the 6,100 range, I would think. But this, of course, is all short term. And with Bitcoin, I'm looking more in a longer term time frame. And I'll use the weekly chart, which is a new period now. The 18 average of lows has risen to 4,600 and change, and 5,600 and change for the 18 average of highs. It would really time well if in the next few days it does manage to come down to this area, sort of like it has in the past. And with today's movement, I'll go back to the short-term time frame again. It does look as if that is the next situation. The 38.2% correction from this low and this high within the 2-hour time frame was 6,300 and change. And it obviously resisted at that point, piercing extra. That's usually what I find frequently within these Fibonacci patterns, that if it's going to go up to a level, it'll go up a bit further. Same thing, if it's going to go down to a level, it will go down a little bit further. And that also meant that the next level of the Fibonacci towards the upside was represented in around 6,800 and change. So I would totally expect if it was to break through and hold this resistance, that's where it would go to. But it's doing quite the opposite, because after you make a move here to the 18 average like this and to the 38.2% correctionary phase, it's important to correct this, and it makes it very, very difficult for these moves to actually formit themselves, especially with formidable downside targets available, like the case is with 5,000, for it to have a steadily declining average and for it to actually do its thing, revert, hold the trend in here, and then stabilize and break above the key 18 average band. But in this situation, it had several periods within this 18 average lows that it broke below it, and it's showing a lot of weakness within this stage. Now, what's not showing weakness are some of the altcoins like Dash. What a move today. And this is the 3-day time frame, going from about 35 basis points up to about 90. Just incredible. I Didn't expect it to go up as fast as it has, but I've said this quite frequently. When these things are, these codes, these cryptos are ready to go, they just go. And it's done it again. If we look at the equivalency of this raise, I'm thinking poker, but it almost is like a big raise in a poker game. I don't know how big the raise is going to get, but we're at the equivalency of, interestingly enough, near a previous high. That back in the day, when it took it out, well, it continued to rip above that level. The next key level is in at the 12 number. If it does manage to go there, the next key support level will be where it is now, key area, down to about 75. And we'll take a look at this a little more short term, but before I do, and I'll talk, yeah, failed move, fast move here, but the way I like to position myself for when things are just ready to go, and I don't want to go to any type of groups or any forums or just have to follow 50, 100 people on Twitter. I don't have time for that. Rather, I'll just be informed with sell order. So an hour or so ago, I'm like, Dash sell order, and I'm thinking, didn't I just recently sell some Dash? Because I realized if I did, it's got to go up a lot. Well, it did, because I sold at let me find the exact number. 899.7, so just a little higher than where it is now because it's at the previous level of resistance. I'm looking to buy it back at 60 right now. That's where I've placed the buy order to buy that back. And then I'll look to buy back again. I don't think this is going to hit. Even this, I don't know if it's going to hit or not too, in here. So I'll put a new sell order in, and I've been trying to think, you know what? For now, it's good. If this continues going straight, I do realize you got a lot of this. And if it does go there, I'd put the buy order back probably at around 77, 7 to 80. Selling at 12, buying at 8, that's a very good profit margin. And and if it does break this, I'm not going to sell anywhere near, anywhere in the one handle. Not till about a quarter of the price of Bitcoin. If, of course, a major move like this occurs. But I sell on the way up, and when you look at how long it takes for these markets to get back what it lost, this is 3 periods in which it lost from here to here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 14 or something. It gets back in 3. It's just crazy how fast these go. And you can almost put this label of movement like this to almost every single coin. Shorter term on the 30-minute time frame, the last key area which it came from is roughly at around the range between 65 and 73, which also appears hit here around 78 on the handle. And this had a symmetrical triangle. It obviously broke it to the upside, and this is just showing you how fast. In one 30-minute candle earlier today, it has a move going from like 53 to 77. That's just amazing movements. Let's take a look at a few other codes. This is Ethereum Classic, and it's on the 3-day time frame. And let's see, this is a move from here to here. I'm going to count 3 periods, 4 periods even, to go from this low to this high. What broke down from here? How many periods did it take to go down? I don't feel like counting, but I know that multiple is 3 or 4 times higher. So markets go up faster than they go down. There has been one opportunity to buy back what could have been sold at these higher levels, and that's just the strategy that I like. I normally would not sell in this area here. I would look to probably sell a little bit decently in a range between this high and this high. then sell again towards this high in here, and we have a top at about the 10 handle. And when these things go, they go. So you can start to think 2025 is a conservative break of resistance, and that's like a massive gain. So that's like pretty interesting potential probability, profitability that's available within some of these codes. Let's take a quick look next at Bitcoin Cash, which has had a huge surge from 0055 up to about 0.44. So about an 8x approximate gain. And it came close to this previous high, which I don't want to give too much credence towards, other than the fact that people are looking at it. And it was actually traded within, but it was so early in the opening of this coin. But it did manage to break through the resistance of around the 20th approximate date of August. And after a very long correction, it managed to break through that level and is now retraced back. It still has retraced an okay amount, going from about 44 to 23. That's only about 50% down, 40 something percent down. That's massive, but it's still well above this newly rising 18 average band. And when you look at technical analysis, this is like the game for being fast. This is a reason why I'd rather just buy when I know it's low and just place my sell orders in and wait for the market to go higher, is because you have a situation here. Stage 1, band flatten out. Stage 2, establish resistance. And stage 3 is take it out. Now in this case, you manage to have many days of a bullish setup, and then of course that breakout date came towards here. But this is where you have to be really fast. You have to be having an alert in place, and you're buying at about 0.112, or your intention might be to buy at 0.107, and you're finding out you're buying at 125 or 130 because it's such a fast game. It can make it very difficult. And even in situations where you do buy up here, it doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to work, because you could buy a break of this resistance, and situation like that, it goes up a bit, but then it actually becomes a top. Unless you know something on a fundamental level, you know what, I'm just going to play the game by having sell orders for when it goes higher, has nice breaks above the 18, like is the case in here, and then wait for much better corrections than what I'm seeing right now. Let's now switch off to the, or on towards the Ethereum chart, looking at the 3-day time frame for the within. And as I've been stating with these codes, when they're ready to go and they go, boy, do they ever go. And previously with Ether, this thing broke some resistance at about 0.001, making a gain of a better than 4x, and then another great leg higher in here. What a great start to the year. And by having sell orders in place, here's a situation where everything you would have sold here would have been forced profit taking, as I talk about it. Because your intention is always to, and even everything in here, your intention is to sell with the intention of buying back. But there was no way of buying back in here, because the markets never came back lower. And that's why I like to try to implement a strategy if I got a token size of a particular cryptocurrency, to be able to take advantage of moves like this, so that when I'm selling in here, I don't run out. That's very important for me to do. And there are some simple methods of doing stuff, like just put a sell order for like a double the price and sell like a third of what you have. And then and if you keep on doing that, you can technically never run out, and the value would still be decent enough on each gain. But yeah, you want to sell within that state. And also, we're seeing a lot of these other cryptos make these moves within the Dash, and Ethereum Classic has got off to an okay start, where Ether, after breaking through this support level, had this decent sized red candle down, 2 days of consolidating it, green candle up to the 18 highs. So one of the things that I'm looking at is the possible failed breakdown, which was shown in the Dash chart. And it's obviously still below this point, that when it's going to be ready to go, there could be some explosive moves, like of course shown earlier with DASH. And if you're trying to look for the codes, especially the ones with good names, high volume, Ether is the biggest of the bunch. And if you're trying to get something that's not up too much that you think has legs to go higher, in this situation here, then this potentially could be ready to have a big move towards the upside, especially if you're like selling Dash, trying to put something into it. This might be one of the spots that one would look towards. Using the daily time frame, but about triple the amount of periods shown in this. Step 1 on the downtrend, band flatten out. Step 2, establish resistance. Step 3, come back to the band, and then step 4, break it. I only see one of two possible things happening at this point. A will be just what I said, step 3. I mean, it might establish a little bit higher, which, like, whatever, but relatively soon it's going to do step 3 and have a move back to this 18 average. The alternate is what Dash did. It's just going to keep going and going, because when you're supposed to have resistance somewhere, then expect a decent size move. Now this I don't think is a heavy area of resistance too much. It's an okay level. I think a very, very heavy level is going to be in this point. And as we've seen with Dash, just because it's supposed to be resistance doesn't mean it will. I think the best way of analyzing it, especially if you just look at the patterns and nothing more, you make a move in here, more times than not, it's going to either have a nice price correction or just go sideways in some form before breaking. Or if it does break, it's just going to go. And again, that was Dash today. Here we have Neo, which is on the daily term time frame. Very interesting pattern. Again, possible failed breakdown in place. And I don't need to draw the line because it's the red line. It's at that key level of support where it broke down from. It tested it throughout August and into September. And once again throughout October. November it broke down below, and now it's been resisting it. But the resistance test is looking pretty darn near positive, like it might want to leg higher. You have this move in here, which goes to the 18 average of highs and above, and then all of this, like an ascending style triangle. Very nice looking pattern. Let's shorten out the time frame. And what we see within the 60-minute, resistance, resistance, resistance. Decent enough pullback here because you'd be looking in here ready to go, but it has recovered this. Almost another possibility of the failed move, fast move. Back again to this high, a little bit of correctionary move. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing just goes breaking past 47. I don't think I'd want any part of selling towards this level in here, as there isn't much of a difference between this high and this high as well. But it does look like a possible good breakout candidate. Again, if you're looking for something just when it's ready to go, it does have a decent bullish setup, as we can see in here. When this thing had its move, which is correcting, which is what it's correcting from, it goes from the 347 handle to the 480 handle. And I mean, that's not spectacular by any means, but if you say this to any stock trader, oh yeah, by the way, I just bought a stock at 34.70 and then I unloaded it a few hours later for $48. You're like, oh my goodness, that thing went up huge. That's like 30%. Huge, 30%. It's good. It's good and it's profitable, but check out Dash if you want to see big. And I've said that word a lot today, but it's just Dash. And I had an okay position of it. I was thinking about buying more, but that's fine that I had what I did of it. I still have it. It's just I was able to get some decent sells, especially just before the start of this video. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.